In India, there are some selected places, very sacred place, and the yogis generally they go there and sit there alone in a sacred place and as prescribed in the Bhagavad-gītā and perform there. Yoga asana cannot be executed in a public place, so that in assembly. Now so far this kirtan is concerned, just like we have performed just now kirtan. This is called sankirtan. Sankirtan means Bhavi militva kirtayati iti sankirtanam. When we sit down, many people together. When Lord Chaitanya was performing this kirtan ceremony 500 years before, he had in each group 16 persons taking part in kirtan, and thousands of people were singing with them. Now, this participation in the kirtan is very easily possible, but so far the yoga system is concerned, that is required any very secluded and sacred place, silent, that is required. It is clearly said here that Shuchau Dese Pratishthapya Sthiram Asanam Atmanaha. One has to place himself in a sacred place, in a silent place, then yoga system is possible. Now comparatively, at the present moment, if you have to practice yoga, then strictly, according to the rules and regulations, you have to leave your home. You have to go out in a secluded place, in a sacred place, and there you have to execute the performance of meditation and yoga. At home it is not possible. So far Bhagavad-gītā is concerned, it is a book of authority. It is recommended here that you should find out a place, suitable place for executing yoga. But here, this is also yoga. This is called bhakti-yoga. Savanam kirtanam. Bhakti-yoga, they have got 9 different processes. Out of that, the first 2, Savanam kirtan, hearing and chanting. I am chanting, you are hearing, you are chanting, I am hearing. This is the process. Holy name of Śrīla Krishna. So everyone can take part in it. But in the yoga system, a particular man, if he is expert, if he is able, if he can live alone from home in a secluded place, then perfection of yoga can be attained. It cannot be attained in a city, in a very good assembly, by exercising gymnastics. No, that is not recommended in the Bhagavad-gītā, at least. We may do that according to one's own way, but that is not the system recommended by the Bhagavad-gītā. Tattarkargamana kritya jato chittendra kriya upavisya asane junjyad yoga atma visiddhaya. The whole process is, yoga system, whole process is to purify mind. Purify. Atma visuddhaya. And what is that purification? The purification is that I am pure spirit. I am not this matter. And under material contact, I am identifying myself that I am matter. I am thinking of myself, I am this body. This is impurity of my existence. And it is clearly said here that one has to realize his constitutional position, that he is not this matter. No water. Atma vishishaya upavisya asane junjya yogam atma vishishaya. The whole process is to purify Now this purification process, if somebody is not able to go outside home and find out a secluded place, do you think that his purification of his existence will not be possible? No, it will be possible. That is the contribution of Lord Chaitanya. He says that Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Namaiva Kevalam Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gati Ranatha. Lord Chaitanya says, in this age is called quarrel, age of quarrel. So he says that in this age, especially, of course, this chanting of holy name of Krishna or God, that is always throughout the history of Vedic literature you find. But especially in this age it is recommended. Why? Now, Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatirannatha. 3 times he has said that there is no other alternative, there is no other alternative, there is no other alternative. Nasteva means there is no other alternative. This is the only process. This is Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Namaiva Kevalam. He says that in this age, simply chanting of God's name, that is the only process, that is the only process, that is the only process. And there is no other alternative, there is no other alternative, there is no other. Why does he say 3 times? The 3 times means that this yoga process was possible in the Satya Yuga. Kriteja Dhyato Vishnu. In those days, people could very easily and nicely meditate upon the Vishnu. Sometimes it is recommended the yoga system is meditation in the void, but we do not find in the Vedic literature that yoga system is meditation on void. No, it is meditation on Vishnu. That will be explained in the Bhagavad-gītā. Now, after sitting in a secluded place, in a sanctified place, and according to the sitting arrangement with tiger skin or deer skin and straw, as it is recommended, then one should sit down there. He should not change his asana, sitting place. Then after sitting, what he has to do, he says, Samankaya giro Samankaya siro girivang dharan achanang sthira. Now, one has to sit down straight. One has to sit down straight so that his skull, this head and the body and everything should be straight like that. Samankaya griva. Griva means this neck. The neck and the skull and the body should be in one straight line. Samankaya siro grivang dharan achalam. And you should not move. Sit down like this. Samprekha nasika gram. And one has to see the top portion of the nose. Not that one has to close his eyes completely. No. Then you cannot see. Sampreksha nasika agram. You have to see the upper portion of the nose. That means if you have seen in some of the yogic societies, they close the eyes completely. And some of them, about 50% of them, are sneezing and sleeping regularly. Because as soon as you close your eyes, and if you have no subject matter to think, and you have been posted to meditate, you do not know to what to meditate, then the next result is sleeping and nothing. That is practical. So one has to sleep very... Somebody was inquiring here. Of course, some of the students, they were sleeping. So he was sarcastically said, are they sleeping or meditating? So I said, yes, they are meditating by lying down. Yes. So sometimes meditation goes on in sleeping. No, that is not the process. You cannot close your eyes completely. Then you will invite the queen and sleep, and she will capture you. The whole process will be like that. Here it is said that in order to keep yourself alive You have to always see the upper portion of your nose. Sampreksha nasikaga sang disascha anavalokan, and you cannot see that who is coming there, oh, who is here, some tiger is coming or something is coming. No fear, because you are put in a Himalaya, in a secluded place and a sanctified place. So you haven't got to, for any other reason, you haven't got to move your neck. And that is not possible in the society. You must have to go in a secluded place. There are so many disturbances. At once, disturbance is there and I have to look who is there. This is the position here. But here it is said that you cannot move your head. You have to sit down straight, that your neck and skull and body should be in one straight line. And you have to see the upper portion of your nose always. That is it. Prasantatma vigata bhi brahmachari vrate sthitaha. Then one should be undisturbed in mind. A man who is always disturbed in mind, he cannot perform yoga. That is not possible. And vigata bhi, bhi means fearfulness. One who has no fear. If he has got fear, then how he can go out of home in the jungle? That is not possible. That is another qualification for executing yoga. Not only for yoga, any person who is trying to elevate himself in the spiritual life, he has to become fearless. Vigata bhi and brahmachari vrate sthita. Brahmachari vrata means celibacy. No sex life at all. Completely private. Brahmachari vrata. Vrata means with a vow that I will have no sex life. With a vow. Such person can execute yoga system. Prasantatma vigata bhi brahmachari vrata sthita manas samyama. When the Atma is, there is no demand. When you have no demand, then your mind is naturally becomes controlled. Manas sangyama machitta. Now doing all these things, the next item is machitta. Krishna says mat to transfer the whole thinking to Krishna or Vishnu, not vacant. Machitta. So if that is the system of yoga, machitta, Yukta ashita matpara. Matchitta and yukta ashita matpara. Always thinking of me or Vishnu. Always thinking of. So now that one who is in Krishna consciousness, he gets the opportunity of the highest yoga system, but he hasn't got to take the trouble of the process. That is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. Here, the whole thing is coming down. The Lord says, machitta. The mind should be engaged in Vishnu, the yogi, the real yogi who goes to the forest, to the secluded place. He thinks of the Chaturdhuj Vishnu. That will be explained here. Manas sangyama machitya yukta ashita matpara junjaneva sadatmanam yogi niyatamanasah. Junjaneva, by prosecuting the process of yoga in such a way, the sitting place, the bodily requisition, brahmachari, celibacy, secluded place, and sitting straight and looking on the uppermost part of the nose. These are the sitting process, and mind should be concentrated on Vishnu. This is the meditation process. Evam sadatmana yogi niyatamanasa. Niyatamanasa means one who has thus controlled his mind. The whole process is, yogic process is simply to control the mind. Yoga, Indriya Samyama, not only mind, but all these senses. All these senses, they should be under control. And controlling these senses the mind should be engaged in Vishnu. Within Vishnu we have got Paramatma, the super soul, Vishnu, and we have to concentrate in that way. Then Shanti Nirvana Paramag Mat Sanstha Madhigacchati. Then he becomes peaceful after extinguishing this material life. This material life is just like fire. It has been compared with the forest fire. As the forest fire automatically takes place, nobody goes to set fire. Similarly, in this material world, even if you try to live very peacefully and without quarreling with any other man, the place is such nuisance that you will not be able to live in peace anywhere within this universe. That is the process. But one who is transcendentally situated either by the yogic process or by the process of empiric knowledge or by bhakti-yoga, either of these processes, there may be a little difference at the ultimate end, but all these three processes, they are meant for transcendental life. So any process, if you make it perfect, then really you get peace. Peace. The only difference is that this yogic process as described in the Bhagavad-gītā, it is not possible to be executed in this age. Therefore, the next alternative is this Hare Krishna, as Lord Chaitanya recommends and devises. And you can practically see that kirtan, this kirtan, you can go on for hours together, you feel not tired. But if you are asked to sit down in the posture as recommended in the Bhagavad-gītā for executing yoga system, hardly you can spare some minutes. So, Shanti Nirvanam Paramam Matsthana Adhigacchati. And after extinguishing this material life, then what is the next? Next is not void, is not impersonal void as they say. Bhagavad-gītā does not say like that. Bhagavad-gītā said, Mastham He enters into my establishment. Sanstha means establishment. Now when you speak of establishment, suppose a big man, he has got establishment, that means it is not void. Establishment means there are varieties of engagement, unless it cannot be sanstha. So here it is clearly said that mas sanstha adhigacchati, one attains to the kingdom of God, where spiritual varieties are there. They are not varietyless, otherwise the Lord would not have said that sanstha. There is a regular establishment. Just like you have got a regular establishment in your household affairs, similarly, the Lord has a regular household establishment in the spiritual world. These processes are simply to qualify himself to enter into that establishment. That's all. We are all belong to that establishment, but being forgetful, we are now in this material world. Just like sometimes some of us becomes crazy and he goes to the lunatic asylum. Similarly, those who become crazy, so spiritual identities, they are put into this lunatic asylum, what is called material world. This is a sort of lunatic asylum. Everything is being done not very safely, you see. So we have to get out of this lunatic asylum and enter into the kingdom of God, Śrīla Krishna. Now Śrīla Krishna is personally teaching what is his kingdom, what he is, and what you are, and what is your relationship with Krishna. This everything is being taught in the Bhagavad-gītā. And a sane man, an intelligent man, must take advantage of these processes. Then Lord Krishna says, Natas natasya jugasti. Anyone who eats more than necessary, he cannot perform yoga. Na ati asnatasya jugasti na cha oikantam anasnata. A person, I mean to say, willfully trying to keep himself in starvation, he cannot perform yoga. Neither the person who eats more than he requires, he also cannot perform yoga. The eating process should be moderate, only for keeping the body and soul together, not for enjoyment of the tongue. That is the real yogic process. That you cannot eat very palatable things, because as soon as palatable things come before us, naturally, if I take one, I must take 2, 3, 4. So far yogis are concerned, they cannot take any palatable, desirable thing. They have to simply take only the necessities. Some of the yogis, I have seen, there was one yogi in Calcutta, of course in a temple, in a sanctified place. He was taking once only a little quantity of rice boiled with water. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon he was taking. That was his food and nothing more. Nothing more. So, nati asnatastu yogasti nachaikanta masasnata nati sapnasilasa. If anyone dreams very much, he cannot also execute. Now, here Sri Krishna does not say that there is dreamless sleep. Dreamless sleep cannot be possible. It is not possible. If somebody says dreamless sleep, it is also another lunacy. No. Dream there must be, more or less. As soon as you go asleep, dream there must be. That may be good dream, bad dream, or for long time, or little time, but dream there must be. But Krishna says that na cha oti sapna silasya. That means one who dreams very much while sleeping, he cannot execute yoga. No jagrata noiva charjana. And one who cannot sleep at night. I have got a young friend, he cannot sleep. And so, for him it is not yoga, for yoga process is not possible. He may note down here. So, sleep also required. He cannot remain without sleeping. That is also required. That means, somehow or other, you should keep your body fit. You should not eat more. You shall not voluntarily starve. You should not be voluntarily awake. And neither. And if you keep yourself peaceful, then you will not sleep. You will not dream also. Dream when the bile is very much agitated, then we see so many dreams due to the air which is coming out of agitated bile. And if you keep yourself peaceful, cool mind, cool head, cool, stomach, then there is ordinary sleep. So here it is said that na cha oti sapna silasya jagrata noiva charjuna. Again he repeats, juktahar viharasya juga chestasya jukta chestasya karmasya. Now here again he says jukta chestasya karmasya. Now if a yogi has to go away from home, then where is the question of karma? That means sometimes those who are practicing yoga at home, for him it is said that jukta chestasya karmasya. If you want to be a yogi at home, then your other engagement should be moderate. You cannot engage for earning your living very heavily and at the same time you can become a yogi. No, that is not possible. That is not possible. Jukta ahara viharasya. You should eat very moderately, you should gratify your senses very moderately, and your work should be anxiety-less, and you should not dream more, and you should not be awake. These are the rules. Then yoga process will be successful. Jada viniyatam chittam atmani eva avatisthate nispriya sarvakamebhya yukta ituchyate tada. Now, what is the sign that one has attained perfection in yoga? The Lord says, Jada viniyatam chittam. Chittam means your heart or your consciousness. When it is self-control, consciousness is completely under your control. You do not become dependent on the dictation of your mind, but mind becomes under your control. Jada viniyatam chittam atmanyeva avatisthate. And mind does not go out, because the yogi's principal business is to think of Krishna or Vishnu always. So, yogi cannot allow his mind to go out. But that is possible in Krishna consciousness. When we are engaged in Krishna consciousness, always engaged in Krishna's service, naturally, my mind cannot go out besides Krishna. Besides Krishna. The mind is automatically controlled. Nispriha sarvakamebhya. And you shall have no desire for material sense gratification. Sarva kamebhya. Kama means material desires. And sarva, and all kinds of. That means if you are in Krishna consciousness, then you have no other desires, so your desires. Desireless you cannot be. That is not possible. Desireless means, here it is clearly said, sarva kamebhya. Kamebhya means desire for sense gratification. That is to be purified. But desire to serve Krishna, that is very good, very nice thing. So we have to transfer the desire. This is called Krishna consciousness. That's all. Desire you cannot kill. It is not possible. I am a living being. Desire is my constant companion. So therefore Krishna consciousness means to purify the desire. How is that? Without sarva kamebhya, without desiring for material sense gratification, I can desire so many things for Krishna's service. There are so many things. Suppose, just like take for example, eating. Eating, we want palatable dishes, very good, but you prepare the palatable food stuff for Krishna. For Krishna, you prepare hundreds of palatable. Don't think that it is being prepared for me. That's what one who prepares food stuff for Krishna, he has to take very precaution, you see. That is being prepared for Krishna. Sometimes I therefore ask the students, don't touch your mouth, don't very cleanly, very sanctifiedly, because it is being prepared. So, now that desire, that Krishna will eat such nice cake and such nice rice. So, the whole thing is prepared in Krishna consciousness, and when it is offered to Krishna, you taste. So your karma is already sacrificed, because from the very beginning, you thinking that it is being prepared for Krishna. You have no desire. But Krishna is so merciful that he gives you the food stuff for your eating. So your desire is already fulfilled. You do not desire it, but Krishna's mercy is so that you can fulfill your desire. Nispriya sarvakamebhya yukta ituchyate tada. At that time, when one has molded his life in such a way, then he is to be understood that he has attained perfection in the yoga system. Simply routine work, doing some exercise, that is not the yoga system as far Bhagavad-gītā is concerned. Now, yatha deepa nivatastha ningate supama smritaha yogina jata chittasya junyato yogamatmana. Just like a lamp when it is not agitated by the wind, the flame is straight. Similarly, the mind should not be agitated. That flame is very nice when it stands straight without being moved by the wind. That flame is very nice. That example is given here. The flame is so susceptible to wind that a little agitation, it moves. So similarly, our mind is also so susceptible to material desire that a little movement can change the whole thing. Change it. Duddhanta indriya grama vidyangsa vikarshati. Little change. In the Vedic language, it is forbidden for a yogi or those who are transcendentalists, because he has to remain brahmachari vratasthita. Brahmachari, there are two kinds of brahmachari. One who is leading a complete celibacy, complete free from sex life. He is called brahmachari. Another brahmachari is grihastha brahmachari. He has got his wife, but he has no other understanding with any other woman. And that wife also only, I might say, relation with him is performed under regulation. He is also brahmachari. One who has his relationship with wife under rules and regulation and does not know any other woman, he is also brahmachari. That is also called brahmachari. And one who leads complete celibacy life, that he is also brahmachari. So that brahmachari vrata is essential for yogi, brahmachari vrata. Now, jatatitsa yogaratma, that mind should not be agitated. He says the mind should not be agitated. Suppose I am brahmachari, I am taking the vow, brahmachari vrata sthita, I have taken the vow that I will have no sex life in my life. Then mind may be agitated sometimes. So there are precautions. Precautions, it is said in the Vedic literature that one should be very careful about women. They are so much careful. Matra sasra duhitra va navivikta saneva said, the prescription is that one should not sit alone, even with his mother, with his sister, and with his daughter. Balavanam grama vidyangsa vikarsati. The mind is so, I am to say, fragile, that even little they can create havoc, you see. So these things are prescription for the yogis. Yogi has to look into the prescription of the system. Jatro paramate chittang niriddhang yoga sevaya jatra chaiva atmana atmanang passan atmani tushati. Now the yogi should control in such a way his mind that as soon as mind goes from the position of meditating on Vishnu, he should at once drag the mind. That requires a very good practice, you see. Then Krishna says that sukham matantikam jat tat buddhi grahyam atindriya veti jatra nachaivayam sitaschalati tattataha. One who does not know that real happiness can be experienced by our transcendental senses, not with these material senses. Senses are not to be sacrificed, desires are not to be sacrificed, but there are desires in the spiritual field, there are sense satisfaction in the spiritual field. That is a different thing. So here it is said, Sukham matantikam ja. What is really happiness? Tat buddhi grayam atindriya. That is transcendental to this experience, empirical sense gratification. Veti jatra nachaivayam sthitaschalati tattata. One who does not know this, then certainly he will be agitated in the mind and fall down. So one should know that the happiness which we are trying to derive from the material senses, that is not happiness. I have several times I recited one nice verse, the description of Rama. Ramante yogina anante satyanande chidatmani iti ramapadenasu parabrahma iti avidhiyate. The yogina, those who are actually yogi, they also enjoy. And how they enjoy? Ramante yogina anante, in the unlimited, not into the limited, in the unlimited. Yogina anante and satyanande, that is real happiness. Satyananda, Chidatmani, and that is spiritual, that is not material. Iti Rama, this is the meaning of Ram. Hare Rama, we describe this. Rama means to enjoy in the spiritual life. That is called Ram. It is all pleasure. Krishna is also pleasure. Rama is also pleasure, because we are all hunting after pleasure. But we do not know where to find out the pleasure. The pleasure in spiritual life, that is real pleasure. We haven't got to sacrifice pleasure, but we have to enjoy it properly. There's a diseased man, he cannot enjoy life. His enjoyment of life is a false enjoyment. When he is cured, when he is in a healthy life, then his enjoyment is bona fide. Similarly, so long we are in the material conception of life, we do not expect that we are enjoying. We are simply entangling. That means diseased man, if he enjoys, if he takes nice food, he cannot eat. But if he lies and takes stillily, without the information of the medical physician, then he prolongs his diseases. That's why. He is killing himself, the process. Similarly, the more we increase our material enjoyment, we are more making ourselves entangled in this material world without being freed from these material clutches. That is the whole system of yoga, jnana, bhakti, anywhere. Anywhere. One may find this system is nice, that system is very difficult. That is a different thing, but any system you adopt, the whole thing is that you have to purify your existence from the conception of material enjoyment to the conception of Krishna consciousness enjoyment. That will make you happy. Thank you very much.